Hi, I'm Leah DiPascal with Proverbs 31 Ministries. Sarah, thank you so much for allowing me to be your guest on your blog today. And I know you had some questions that you wanted me to answer in regards to financial management and also money issues for your readers and subscribers, and I would love to do that. Thank you so much for asking me. The first question is, what life lessons have you learned about money since you were in your 20-somethings? Well, the reality is I've learned a lot. Some of it has been through great teaching that my husband and I took as a couple through church and other local organizations, and some of it has just been making mistakes and learning along the way. When I was in my early 20s, I got married, and my wonderful father, who is an amazing spiritual leader, sat down with my husband and I and said, I would love to just share some things that your mom and I have learned and what's worked for us and what hasn't in our marriage and how we've made adjustments. And so we spent some time with him and my mom talking, and one of the things that he covered was money management. And what he said is he taught us the 10-10-80 rule. Now, the 10-10-80 rule is where you take your, whether you get paid weekly or twice a month or monthly, he taught us to take those funds and do the 10-10-80 rule. That means the very first 10% that we received, we took it off the top and we gave it as a tithe to the church that we were attending. That was our local church. That money was a gift back to the Lord, recognizing that all that we had received came from Him, and we wanted to honor Him with that first 10%. Then the next 10% actually went towards our savings and our 401k plan, and if we developed an IRA, we did that along the way. That 10% would go into our savings, and then the 80% we would live off of. Well, initially, the very first year, we were just trying to get used to being a married couple and being on our own and dealing with our own finances, and we didn't quite implement that 10-10-80 rule. And I will tell you from experience, implement the 10-10-80 rule, because it was a mess. Our finances were a mess. We were just buying things. We weren't saving that 10%. Sometimes we would give our 10% to the church. Other times we didn't. We weren't being good stewards at all. And it didn't take very long to realize that the plan that we had was not working. And so then our second year of marriage, we began to implement that 10-10-80 rule. And it was amazing how God truly, truly blessed us, not only financially, but in our marriage and in our relationships and opportunities for my husband at work and for myself. So that's the one thing I want to share with you as you begin maybe being on your own for the very first time, or maybe you've been on your own for a while and your financial situation is just very frustrating. I want to challenge you to implement that 10-10-80 rule and see how God uses it to just really bless you in your life. The next question is, was there ever a time when money or shopping sprees or buying became almost a tool to fill me emotionally or physically instead of God, spiritually? And I'm embarrassed to say that the answer is yes. When my husband and I first got married, like I had said, we didn't have a lot of money, and he was working a good job, but we were really acquiring some things and buying some things. And as God began to bless us with our finances, and my husband moved up the corporate ladder, we continued to save and give our 10%. But there was more income, and instead of increasing our savings and increasing our givings, and our tithes and our givings, I began to realize, wow, now first we didn't have much money to manage at all, and that was stressful, and now we've got an abundance of money, and that's fun, because what I did is I began to use some of those extra monies, those extra funds, to buy things for the house and buy extra clothes that I didn't need. And the world will tell you that you need these material things to fill and fulfill you and make you valuable and make you noticed and make you important and to give you status. And the reality is that's truly a lie. That is not a biblical concept. And so I would find myself buying things and leaving them in the car, and then at night when my husband would go to sleep, I'd go out in the car and I would bring that in the closet and I'd stuff it underneath the bed. I mean, it was horrible. I was making excuses, and here I was, a Christian, and I was rationalizing. But when I would go shopping, it was normally out of frustration that something had happened. If I was discouraged about something, if I was bored, I would go shopping, and that would give me a quick fix. But you know what else it did? As soon as I would buy something, that sense of enjoyment was so temporary. It was very temporary. And then guilt would come in. And then the credit cards, where the statement would come in, and I would just feel so guilty. And it was like a vicious cycle. Until about maybe 6 years ago, God challenged me, and that's a whole nother story within itself, but God truly challenged me to go on a shopping fast. And I remember exactly where I was when he challenged me, and I remember my first thought was like, there is no way I'm going to be able to do this for 60 days. Lord, you are asking me not to buy a single thing for myself, like not even shampoo or toothpaste or anything? And he said yes, because he impressed upon my heart. Now, this wasn't audible, but this was a knowing in my heart that money and material things had become a God that I ran to, not even realizing it. It was something that I was using to fill and fulfill me. And so what I did is, for 60 days, I committed to him that I would not buy anything personal for myself. Now, I still bought food, and I bought necessities for my kids and my husband if they needed toothpaste or toilet paper or whatever it was. But my challenge was, God was speaking to me and said, anything that you need, if it's a hair clip, if it's hairspray, if it's toothpaste, you've already got 6 tubes sitting in the counter. Don't buy a new thing of toothpaste. Whatever it was, he needed to help me break that cycle. And I tell you, that experience, at first, it was so hard, I just thought I was going to shrivel up and die. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. It was really hard. But by the time I got into the 3rd week and the 4th week, I began to realize God began to show me, come to me, the Lord would say, instead of getting in your car and going shopping when you're discouraged and frustrated and down and bored. Come to me. And my relationship with the Lord took on a whole new level, because I replaced what I was going to, those material things. I would go and spend time with him, and he would fill me and fulfill me. And there was no guilt that came afterwards that the enemy would bring. And it was truly a revival in my life, and it broke that cycle. It's still a challenge for me when I go to the store sometimes. I'll see something that I like, but I will pause. Sometimes I'll just pray. I'll say, Lord, do I really need this? And the Holy Spirit is quick to tell me, no, you don't. Or you have that already. And so it's still always a challenge, but I can tell you it's broken the cycle of that instant gratification needing, and it's helped my marriage, it's helped our finances. It's just been an amazing thing that the Lord has taught me. So the third and final question is, what is one piece of advice that you would give us about money? And I guess what I would want to share with you is that no matter whether you're in your 20-somethings or 30-somethings or 40-somethings, or no matter how old you are, you will have to manage your finances just like I will. I'll give you a perfect example. When Sarah had asked me to do this video blog a couple months ago, I had no idea that this weekend that I'm recording this, that I would be moving. And it's just amazing. And the reason why I share this is because my husband is a general contractor, and over the last 3 years, because of the economy, we have had to move and downsize 3 times. We've had to make adjustments in our lifestyle. And it's been challenging and it's been hard, but God has been there the whole time, and he has really blessed us and taken us to a whole new level of faith with our finances and trusting him. And so we're in the midst of moving once again, and I thought, as I began to record this video and get ready for you all this morning on what I was going to say, I felt like the Lord pressed upon me is to let you know that regardless of how old you become and where you are in your stage of life, you're going to have to deal with finances. Sometimes it's not enough money. Sometimes it's too much money. Sometimes it's mismanaging money. But I guarantee that if you go to the Lord and pray and earnestly seek Him and ask Him to give you the guidance of making these decisions,